Hi folks, Canadian Prepper here, back once again. Day after day, we're doing a video a day for as long as I can maintain it. We're going to have another video tomorrow and probably a video the next day as well. But, geez, you know, I got to talk about this because I just don't know what to make of it. And I know bringing it out there to the masses is just asking for trouble, because I'm going to get a handful of people in the comment section saying, happy solar minimum, blah, blah, blah. And then the other half are going to say, we're going to fry like chickens. A bunch of people are going to talk about the NWO's carbon tax conspiracy. But if I was to just do a qualitative analysis, and basically what that means is not really do a scientific test, but just base it on my own personal experience. What I've seen in the last few years, which have been quantitatively proven to be the hottest on record, is that there's clearly been an increase in forest fire activity. Part of that is due to the beetle kill that we've seen across the boreal forest. The pine beetle has just decimated, not decimated, way more than decimated. It's destroyed the pine forest throughout the boreal forest, and it's pretty much spreading across the boreal forest. There's a good chance that it's going to kill every standing pine tree that there is right now. So what this has done is it's left a lot of dead standing timber. So a lot of those trees that you see me cut down with the Katana Boys, those are all dead trees. They might look very sturdy, but inside they've been hollowed out. They're tunneled through with this pine beetle, and actually most of them look dead on the outside. And if they're not dead yet, they're going to be dead. And actually falling those trees minimizes the fire risk. That's not the point of this video. In recent years, like I've said, we've seen a massive increase in wildfires. They've been encroaching closer and closer to major population centers. With the Fort McMurray wildfire was one of the biggest wildfires in Canadian history, and that was 2015 or 2016? I can't remember. But we had wildfires just a couple of years ago that the smoke was so intense that it went all the way down to Texas. And now, after a fairly long winter, a fairly long cold winter, we've seen record temperatures in May. Not necessarily always the record highs for the day, but consistently high temperatures, well over 30 degrees. For this part of the world, this far north, we're one of the northernmost cities. Edmonton and Saskatoon are some of the northernmost cities in North America, major population centers, and we're both seeing temperatures in the high 20s and 30s consistently on a daily basis in May. Now, based on my personal experience, that's very rare. Alright, my battery died there. So I'm reading these articles about world record heat kills 65 people as millions flee baking city. Karachi, one of the biggest cities in the world. I think there's like 20 million people there or something like that. In an all-time record for April, a heat wave in Karachi, Pakistan has already claimed a staggering 65 lives in the last 3 days. And this is from May, I should say. The mercury rose to more than 50 degrees Celsius on Monday. I think their record temperature for the planet in April was broken in Karachi this year. 50.2 degrees Celsius, which is around 122 degrees Fahrenheit. And 50 degrees Celsius on Monday. It's showing people like laying in the streets because it's so freaking hot. And it doesn't even look like that's sunny, probably because of the smog. I don't know if this is one of those pictures that they just, you know, they pay a bunch of people to lay sitting down. I don't want to, please don't go conspiracy on me for this one. For me, it's quite evident that it's freaking hot out there these days, okay? So what's causing that? Who knows? Well, I'm sure a couple people think they know. And you know what kind of upsets me is the certainty with which some people speak. It's the absolution with which people take one side or the other. Now, the Guy McPherson interview I did, it's got to make you at least think. What if he's right? What if we are entering a phase of catastrophic, irreversible warming of the planet? What would you do? How long would you last? I know there's going to be some people who just block the idea out based on their research. I wanted to do a video on research because the same people who throw around that word research are also the ones who've fueled their flat earth conspiracy theories, you know, with that same notion that going on the internet and having this confirmation bias, seeking out information that just agrees with your perspective, is somehow doing research, or watching a few documentaries which are not even official documentaries. They're just videos people made on the internet and using that as some sort of empirical evidence of your theory. And I'm not saying that this is what's happening, but I'm just saying, what if they're right? You gotta consider that as a possibility, in the very least. That doesn't mean you have to go out and put all your eggs in that basket. It just means you gotta think that if this is real, if this is actually happening, this is very serious, and shit's gonna hit the fan in a big way. They're talking about a city with 20 million people, which has frequent power outages, of course, because there's that whole thing, which probably is preventable. You know, if they had a better socioeconomic structure there, and you know, I'm sure there's lots of energy out there to be harnessed to fuel the air conditioning. But the problem with air conditioning is it actually raises the temperature even more because you have all those air conditioners running. So just looking at this, I mean, this is pretty intense to see these images of these people who are dying in the streets because it's so freaking hot out. And I don't know, what do you guys think about this? Do you think that this is a trend? Because I've been reluctant to really fully get behind the idea of anthropogenic global warming because it's so controversial, especially in this genre, in this clique. People seem to have a knee-jerk reaction to it, which is very negative, and they think you're promoting the carbon tax. But just think about this. Even though I'm totally with you in the fact that I think taxation to resolve any issue is ridiculous. I think it's by and large a way to concentrate more resources and power in the hands of our central arbiters, the government. And I don't think that it necessarily has the best interests of people in mind when they do that, but it's a great way, of course, to generate more revenue for them, even though a lot of these climate scientists say that the carbon sequestering and all those things that they're planning on doing with this tax money is not enough. It's way too little too late, even if you do believe that model. So, I mean, what if you guys who are promoting the whole localized, it was the coldest day here last year, therefore global average temperature increasing is not a real phenomenon? What if you're being fed a line? And in doing so, what if you're failing to prepare for what's coming? See, that's my biggest concern. I don't even really care about the politics of it all. It's about, are we going to be prepared to endure it? Because our agricultural system hangs in such a delicate balance, now more than ever. I'm going to post a link to a video by a guy named Richard Manning, and he talks about all this stuff, how we're just on the razor's edge with our agricultural system right now, and in terms of it collapsing. I've used many metaphors to try to explain to people before who say, we're so small we could never have such an impact. Well, look at a virus. Look how minuscule and submicrobial that is, and look what it can do to a person who's a bazillion times bigger than it. So that the notion that we're small is a really silly argument. We're part of a global body, and even you guys who come on here preaching the whole Gaia hypothesis thing, that is, if anything, that speaks to the vulnerability of the planet. Are you that resilient? I mean, when it comes to killer viruses, there's going to be a virus that kills you. Not, yes, our immune system is going to be able to fight off many pathogens, but there's going to come that one that takes you down. The same thing could be true for the Earth. Look at the Dust Bowl. The Dust Bowl, that was pre-Green Revolution. That was before really big agriculture even came onto the scene. And look what we did to the environment then. And we essentially caused the Dust Bowl. It was largely the incorrect agricultural practices of the time which led to the Dirty 30s and the Dust Bowl. So, to say that we can't have an impact, especially nowadays when the tentacles of civilization have infiltrated and permeated throughout every inch of arable land there is. There's no more arable land out there that has yet to be had, and if there is, it's buried underneath rainforest or some other forest, which of course is required to preserve the ecology of a region. And we are ecological beings. We can never forget that. As much, as evolved as our iPhones get and our technology gets, we need to remember where we came from. We came from the earth. We came from this ecology that many of us are so out of touch with because we've only lived on pavement our whole lives. We totally forget that we are a part of that system. So what do you guys think about this? Is this it? Is this really happening? Because if you ask me, it's been crazy hot, and even the sun's heat just feels different lately. I used to work, even in the early 2000s, I used to work tree planting out in the sun. I'd wear no shirt, I'd be smoking have a cigarette hanging out of my mouth up there on the mountain, with the bears and the bees and the black flies and all the rest. And I could do that no problem. Now, maybe it was because I was younger, but there's just something about the heat of the sun nowadays that just seems different to me. Maybe I am just getting older. I don't know. I do think something is going on. I'm not trying to fearmonger. I'm not saying I'm heading for the hills and, I'm going to store 10 years worth of food, which I'm pretty close to probably doing anyways, but not for that particular reason. But I'm concerned, and I think others should also be concerned about this. Because if you're wrong, all of you naysayers out there, you're screwed. Big time. I mean, we're all screwed. But you're probably going to be screwed more because you didn't prep for that very thing. There's a movie called Hell that depicts that sort of world where the entire planet has become desertified and it's just a bunch of cannibals running around trying to live off the remains of the old world. I'm sure there's going to be some subterranean nuclear powered grow operations for the elites, and perhaps that's what the seed vaults are for. But who knows, maybe it could swing the other way. Like all these people in the comment section love to point out how we're going into an ice age. And it's almost like, no, we're going into an ice age, period. That's the end of it. That's the end of their comment. It's as if they just expect that we're going to disregard everything that we're seeing with our own eyes right now and just read their comment and proceed like business as usual. You got to be really careful what you read on the internet, because remember, IQ, the average IQ is around 100, and as George Carlin said, that means 50% of people are beneath that, and most of them have internet access, so consider that. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and by all means comment, but keep it civil. I'm just a guy trying to figure it out. I'm not trying to push an agenda. I know some of you guys think I'm some sort of reptilian shapeshifter. Well, if that was the case, I wouldn't be struggling to pay my bills. That said, go check out CanadianPreparedness.com for all of your emergency preparedness needs. Thanks for watching. Canadian Prepper out.